In a recent analysis of AI safety, psychiatrist Dr. Marlon Way highlights a specific psychological risk. She argues that chatbots are becoming highly effective world builders, expanding a user's initial thought into a detailed, self-reinforcing reality. We focus on sycophancy, where AI simply agrees, but elaboration constructs a branching fractal structure around an idea. In vulnerable states, the AI takes a paranoid intuition and quickly provides the coherent architecture needed to justify it. The tech industry's reflex is to heavily restrict the software. Developers add layers of guardrails, making the AI's output intentionally dull to minimize risk. This creates a direct trade-off. When we treat the AI's ability to expand ideas purely as a defect, the system loses the depth that makes it useful for creative or reflective thought. Humans rely on this same process of expansion to navigate life. We process grief by narrating memories, we build art by following intuition, and we define our identities by connecting these fragments of experience into a coherent story. Human meaning-making is like a powerful river. It gathers force as it moves, irrigating our lives and carving out the channels of our understanding. That movement is necessary for growth, but it carries an inherent danger. A river that provides fertility to a valley can also flood it. The hazard with AI emerges when this current of elaboration flows through a space without any boundaries to guide its direction. This creates a state of unbanked elaboration. A powerful psychological force is unleashed, lacking the structural containment needed to prevent it from overwhelming reality. To manage this flow, institutions often point to the traditional clinical frame of psychotherapy as the necessary container. We view the clinical frame as a safety standard because it uses clear roles, professional boundaries, and active reality testing to keep the conversation grounded. But clinical systems are also engines of elaboration. Diagnostic manuals and risk assessments take a person's lived experience and reorganize it into institutional categories that carry their own heavy interpretive weight. When these frameworks become too rigid, they act like a concrete dam. They can prematurely pathologize a fragile process of self-discovery, trapping a person within a diagnostic label and stopping the natural flow of their own meaning-making. Imposing a strictly clinical frame on AI interaction risks trading a chaotic flood for a rigid enclosure. It replaces the user's personal exploration with an institutional vocabulary. Rather than a rigid clinical wall, we need the ecological structure of a living bank. A living bank contains the movement of the river without killing its momentum. It is firm enough to provide direction, but flexible enough to adapt to the water's force. In human terms, these banks are made of ordinary physical realities: consistent sleep, regular meals, physical movement, and trusted friendships. These are the structures that anchor us in the world. We can translate this into digital interactions through user-authored boundaries, explicit agreements where the user dictates how the AI should respond if the conversation begins to spiral. Psychological safety with AI is found in this ecology of ordinary reality. It requires a set of human-centered banks to guide the digital reflection. Most safety discussions focus exclusively on the isolated software. They evaluate the model based solely on its words, ignoring the person receiving them. To understand the actual impact of AI, we must analyze the entire field, the physical, social, and emotional context of the human. We have to ask, what is physically happening to the person? Is the AI helping them engage with their life, or is it drawing them into isolation? Does it leave them more capable of doubt or locked into absolute certainty? This perspective leads to wise elaboration. It treats the AI as a reflective mirror that reveals hidden patterns, rather than an authoritative oracle that dictates the truth. Safety cannot be found in the death of depth. It is found in our ability to build the living banks required to metabolize that depth.